Hi everyone, so this is part 2. We're going to be adding lightning effects to our hero flight. So the idea here is that as the subject goes up, his hands are going to come out and lightning is going to shoot from one hand and then connect to the floor underneath. I've been playing with this a lot over the last couple days, and there are lots of fun ways to do this, but I think teaching you how to do it this way is going to give you the most options for maybe having lightning shoot out of somebody's eyes, shoot out of their feet. You can really mess with this. I think it gives us the most options for creativity and kind of fooling around with stuff. Okay, so it's going to be kind of a general lightning tutorial. However, it's not going to be as simple as it was way back for the Shazam video. Way back at Shazam, you guys were brand new to all of this, so we just kept it simple as could be. So now we're going to kick up the complexity a little bit, and you're actually going to have to do a little bit of animating with this. And yeah, we're just going to build on the skills that you already have. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just check out here just to make sure that we have everything. We have our clean plate, we have that base null, and then we have our shadow griffin on the floor, the reflection, and then the top griffin here. And one thing you might notice is that here there are all of these speakers clicked on. This is allowing the sound for those channels to go through. We don't want any sound on this. All right, don't worry about it. Adding sound in After Effects is actually kind of a headache because as the software tries to play back the video, it stutters a lot and it's just hard to get things in alignment. That's more of a task for Premiere. So if you were going to add sound to it, which we're not going to, you would probably render this out and then move it to Premiere and then add the sound there. So for this project, the sound isn't useful, so just turn it off. It's one less thing for your computer to have to deal with. All right, so we're going to create two instances of lightning, a right side and a left side, one for each of my hands. So I'm going to create a new solid, and let's create the lightning that's going to be in my right hand. So click New, and then Solid here. And then this window pops up. We're going to call this Right Lightning. Leave the size and everything the same because it's just going to match our project, and set the color to white. Click OK. Okay, then the screen's going to white out like this. It's pretty awesome. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to add advanced lightning to this. Advanced. So just start typing that into your effects panel here. And there's advanced lightning. I'm going to apply it to this layer and boom, there we go. So this should look really familiar. Remember that this lightning asset is randomly created just through scrambling numbers in all of this math and the algorithms that the software sets up. So it's going to look different for you than it is for me. So if you are like counting the number of like little forks out of there and you're like, oh, I'm not exactly the same as Mr. Griffin. No, you're not going to be the same as me. Okay, it's just not the way that this software works. So it's kind of fun because lightning is a randomly generated thing in our environment, physical environment, and therefore it is also randomly generated here. Some people find that frustrating. I find that to be kind of cool. But anyway, okay, so let's start playing with this. I'm going to go over here into the lightning settings, and we are going to turn down the glow. We're going to add glow stuff later, so I'm going to kind of just kill the glow here. So I'm going to just pull that glow opacity down to 0. Okay, then we're going to move to core settings and go to core radius, and I'm going to bump this up. I've had this all over the place, but I think 3 is a nice place. We're going to animate that a little bit over time, but 3 is a good starting place. Okay, so here we have the lightning stretching way up from here. This is our starting place. This is what's called the origin. And then this little target down here is called the direction. I don't know why it's called the direction and not like endpoint. Anyway. But what I want to do is to create this idea that the lightning is actually like striking the floor, almost like the lightning is like lifting me up, or I'm having some kind of interaction with the floor. And so just having it dribble off the edge of the screen kind of visually is a little strange. So what we have to do is we have to create a block here on the floor so that the lightning stops to give it the suggestion that it's actually hitting the floor. Okay, so I looked at several different ways of doing this, but I think the best one to do this is to actually create a mask on our lightning layer. And so I'm going to come up here and pick the rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and drag this out so that the top line kind of hits the floor at the place where I want the lightning to stop, about right here. And so you can come in here and adjust this if you want to. You can get into the mask settings and stretch things out and whatnot. But Yeah, there you go. There's your mask. And did you know too that you can toggle the seeing a mask by clicking this button right here? So for now, we'll leave it on. But okay, make sure ground plane. I've got so many notes. Oh my God, I've got pages of notes. So hang on, let me just make sure I'm getting this right. Okay, so we're gonna twirl down this mask and we're gonna make sure that this is set to add. Sometimes it gets flipped to none and then it doesn't work very well. So just make sure it's on add. It should automatically set to add unless you change something in your After Effects from a previous project. So anyway, just make sure that that's on add, okay? Okay, now we're gonna go back to our lightning section and we're gonna twirl down expert settings. Hold on, let me find this here. I've got to, oh, here's alpha obstacle. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So check this out. So right now there's this mask here, but the lightning isn't actually interacting with it at all, but we want it to. So I discovered this. If we come into alpha obstacle and we drag this up to around 15, 16, watch, it's going to snap to the bottom of the mask. Well, the top part of the mask right there, right? So as the lightning kind of moves and does its thing, it's not going to move beyond this part right here. And by the way, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go to File, Save As, and just save my project to make sure that I get this right. And I'm going to put a 2 after this one. You never know. My project might crash. My computer might crash. Okay, so now I'm going to toggle this mask off. Gone. So now it actually looks like it's kind of hitting the ground right here. I'm going to go back up to my selection tool. And now for some reason, my lightning has decided it's going to stop randomly generating. Let's see if we can fix that. Okay, so now we're going to look under expert settings here, and we're going to play with a few things, some settings that I have found to be useful. Now, you can change these later on, but for now, let's move termination threshold down, 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 down. I'm noticing that about under 60 is good. Wow, look at that. The lightning is still not like really animating here. Okay, let's go back up to fit. Don't know why. Hopefully we get that back. Okay, we're going to turn on decay main core here, and that's going to make it so that the lightning becomes thinner and lighter as it hits its endpoint. So we'll play with that. See, if I move this, the source, the origin part down, you can see how now it looks like it's kind of hitting the ground here. And I can stretch this part out here too. Okay, we're gonna get in here and animate this, so don't worry about this. Okay, forking might be something that you want to play with. I generally turn the forking up a little bit. Now, the higher the fork, you can see the more like little pieces of lightning are down there. I find that to be a little annoying when it's too high, but you don't want a single like shaft of lightning. Seems a little thin. So I put it, I don't know, around 40. I guess. So I get some, but not too much. There you go. You can play with that. Let's see. Turbulence. Where's turbulence? Okay, I turned this down a little bit I turned it down to about 0.75. Kind of adjusts how it's going to go. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you how to do something that we've never done before. Now, you know how to create an animation by clicking in keyframes, but there's another way that we can have the software randomize some animation for us. And this is how you do it. This is really interesting. This is called creating an expression. Some classes never get to this, but you are. So we're going to go up here to core radius. We want the thickness of this to kind of move in and out as the lightning effect happens. So I'm going to press the Alt key with my hand, and then I'm going to left click core radius, the little stopwatch right here. Whoop. And you'll see that down here in my timeline, this little bit pops out right here. All right, so it's under core radius, and here's a little place here for us to type. So I'm going to delete this out, and I'm going to type wiggle, and then a parenthesis, and 7, 3 here. make sure that you close it off with a closed parenthesis. And so what this is saying is that 7 times per second, this value is going to oscillate at a variance of about 3 points. So for us, at the core radius is 3, it's going to oscillate between 0 and 6 as it goes. So watch as it goes. See how the core is like flickering in and out now? Now this is randomized. We can't control this. So yours is going to be different than mine. That's okay. Okay, we're going to add another expression. We're going to go to animate conductivity state right here. And we're going to do the same thing. Alt left click. And it creates this. And this one we're going to do by time. So I'm going to type time. And then the little star above the 8. This isn't an X. This is the star. And then we're going to call this 2. Time times 2. All right. So this is going to adjust how much. There we go. There's that animation on there. Bzzz, as it goes. Pretty cool. Great. Okay. Now, another thing that some of you might want to play with is up here under lightning type. Now that we have some of these things set, you might want to jump in here and play with like the strike. You might want to play with braking. You might want to play with bouncy. I mean, some of these are kind of annoying. I don't know. I don't feel like this is the effect we're going for here. I'm going to stick with direction, honestly. But hey, if you think of something that's really cool and you can make it look good and interesting, then try it. Okay, but that is a fun thing to kind of play with there. You can also play with core drain here. See, by increasing the core drain, it's thinning the ends here. That might be worth playing with. And there was one other one that I thought was interesting. Oh, fork strength. So that's just this fork percentage here. And fork strength here. See how it just thickens up those fork bits. So find what you like, and you might just need to get in there and just play with it. I'm going to increase the forking, actually. Now that I see my version of this, I kind of want more of that. Very cool. Great. Okay, so now I'm going to change the core color. I really like the color orange, so I'm going to click here on white. And let's move up through here. Let's find the orange. Boom. Okay, nice, done. And this is good. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. Don't want to lose my project. I'm gonna move my playhead to the beginning. Okay, now we need to make some decisions because I don't want the lightning to appear like right at the beginning. So my hands come in, and then as my hand starts to like sweep across my body and come out, that's when I want this lightning to appear. Okay, so now I've tried motion tracking my hand, but we can motion track my hand. That's not a big deal. But the problem is that we cannot actually map this this origin point to a null. Womp womp. I don't know why, but After Effects won't let us do this. So we are going to do this by hand. Okay, so at the point where I want the lightning to appear, I think I want it about right here as my hand starts to come across. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually have it appear. So it's actually going to be there the whole time, but we're going to hide it. So I'm going to come down here to opacity and leave that opacity right at this moment, right where we want the lightning to appear at 100%. But now I'm going to back up a couple of frames. So Control left arrow, 1, 2, and I'm going to decrease that down to 0. So everything from the beginning of this clip all the way to here is going to be 0%. And then over just a couple of frames, whoop, 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 it's going to appear and then start like flickering and doing its thing. Okay. So also starting at this very key frame here is where we need to start animating the origin point of the lightning. Okay, so I'm going to come up here to position. Oh, not of the layer though. We actually have to go to the effect. Advanced lightning. Okay, there we go. Let me get in here. And we have to actually activate the keyframe under origin. because we're not going to animate this yet. We are going to animate it, but not yet. It's going to have its own motion track. Okay, so on this very first frame where the lightning is appearing, I'm going to move the origin to my hand right here. Kind of this section of my hand is what I'm aiming for. All right, boom, keyframe is on. And now I'm going to advance. I'm not going to do this for every frame. It's going to take too long, but I'm going to go about 4 or 5 frames at a time. And we can kind of cheat because the lightning is flickering in and out, so it doesn't have to be exact. So I'm going to go Control right arrow 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now I'm going to move this point. And look, it created another keyframe for us right here. Okay, I'm going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see my pattern here? And my hands move pretty smoothly, so I don't have to worry about it too much. In fact, I can kind of open up and start doing even more frames if I want to. Get them in there, especially as my hands slow down. I don't really care too much. Like, look, that's barely any movement in there at all. But I'm always trying to make sure I move it a little bit. Otherwise, it'll seem like that or that origin point isn't moving and it'll look kind of weird. Okay, great. So now I'm going to go all the way back to my first frame here of the lightning. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the bottom kind of sweep along the floor a little bit. Okay, so it's going to slide across and hopefully look pretty smooth. Okay, so at first it's going to start almost straight down, so we're going to turn on the direction here. But as my hands go up to the very top, I'm going to move this way out here. Okay, so it's kind of like, check it out, it's kind of like going like, lifting me up. Okay, now I don't love this. I don't like how now it's not coming in contact with the floor anymore, right? So we kind of need to get back into these lightning settings. In fact, I'm going to pull this out here. And let's come in here and play with core drain and see if we can like stretch some of this out. Look at this. By decreasing the decay, look at that. Look how I can get it now down to actually hit the floor as it comes. And because we have this mask here, the mask is catching the ends of the lightning and actually creating a bit of a, ooh, look at that. Isn't that cool? I think that looks pretty awesome. Right on there. Okay. Okay, I think that looks pretty rad. Boom. Okay, so you might want to get in there and play with that, fiddle with this, the forking, the core drain on this, like maybe back it off just a little bit more so it looks a little bit cooler. But I love the points where it hits the floor because it creates those like little sparkly places. It really makes it look like it's hitting the ground. And I love that. I think that is so rad. Look at that. Boom. Right there. Okay, so there you go. That's how you do this advanced lightning. All right, I'm running out of time on my video, but what I want you to do today on Tuesday is to work through this, but create a lightning on both sides. I've shown you how to do one side. Now, how would you add it to the other side? Okay, see if you can follow these steps. Again, learning is about repetition and doing things over and over again. And see if you can make that look that I've got lightning coming out of both sides. Maybe the left side lightning is purple, or maybe it's red. I don't know, whatever, but make it look cool and awesome. For those of you who are animating me as I fly, that's great. This should kind of come together all pretty much the same. This, I'm going to have you turn this in today. So remember, when you're done with this project, always go to File and Save. You guys should know this, but I'll do it once for you just in case. Go File, and then Export, Add to Render Queue. Then come down here inside your render queue and under Output Module, remember we want to switch this to QuickTime. Click OK. And then Output to, mine says not yet specified. Yours might say something like old. And look, I want to make sure I save it into my C drive, into my project folder. So I'm going to call this Hero Flight 1 Griffin. Put my name on it, right? And this is my first attempt at Hero Flight. I'm going to click Save. And then I'm going to click Render. Boom. When this is done, I'm going to take this and I'm going to post it online in my folder. In fact, I have to make a folder. Okay, we're going to create a folder here. 16. Ooh, Hero Flight 1. Boom. You're going to save this here. Okay, and then I'm going to check it just to make sure that you got it in here. Now, here's the thing though. You are going to put a second one in here, a second one. And we're going to crank up the difficulty for the second one a little bit. So just wait, don't do it yet. I'm going to leave a video for you, okay, to do this another time. But for now, just take the video that you make right here in After Effects, right here, open up your project folder. Here's Hero Flight 1 Griffin, and plunk it in there, and that's all you have to do for today on Tuesday. Now I'm going to be in the room tracking you in this space, running around the back, trying to get you going, okay, and answering questions you might have. But by the end of the day, your video needs to be here. Understood? All right, that's it. Can't wait to see the work that you turn in. This is really cool, really exciting. And yeah, I'll see you later on in the week. All right, take care. Bye.